You are now tuned in to 710 Radio. We are the newest and hottest independent radio station in Colorado and on the internet. The fans named the station. With over 1 million visitors and over 10 million hits. Oh yeah, our website is going bananas. We are the newest and the hottest. This is 710 Radio. 24/7 radio. Stay tuned and tell a friend. The Dabber's Choice. With hot shows 7 days a week.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team fucking here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom.
Shit. Piss.
Fuck.
Cunt.
Cocksucker.
Motherfucker.
And don't forget about tits.
We remember these words as,
The 7 dirty words.
but we call them.
Conversation.
And if you're offended by these words, you fucking should be.
What's up, everybody? This is 710 Radio, and I'm Rick Wainwright.
And I'm Patrick Partridge.
And this is Let's Talk About It.
What's up, everybody? Damn it.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Sorry, I just took a hit off of the ball, man. And
Choke it out.
So,
Hey, welcome, everybody. This is another week of Let's Joke About It. We got an exciting show this week. We're going to expose the actual culprits of who poisoned the Flint River before it got funneled into the people's homes and poisoning kids. Yeah, you might get bored of our topic these next few weeks, but you may end up learning something about the possibility of your hometown getting poisoned in the water system.
oh, yeah, we will
So
be talking about that.
sit back and enjoy the show. We're going to take you on a little history lesson and a little joyride. How's it going, Rick? How's your week been?
Man, it's been all right, man. It's been a little stressful. My car ended up breaking down this week and had
Other
So-
family issues?
family issues. Yeah, I was trying not to bring that one up, but you know,
Right, yeah, but it still contributed to the stress.
Oh yes, it did. You know,
We're not going to talk about it because that's your issue, but yeah, obviously you had a very stressful week.
you know, and then dealing with Ray this week and finding out he was left alone, that stressed me out hard. And
Yeah, folks, let's all lift Ray up in our prayers because our brother in arms is not doing well at all.
yeah, he's
And he needs all the prayers we can give him.
right. And you know, I mean, as people know, V-Jam's on. He's been on hospice, and well, he was left alone for a couple of days, and man, that just really pissed me off. I got to tell you, that made me mad. But we got him taken
It
care
pissed
of.
off all of his brothers.
But we got him taken care of. He's doing all right. You know, I mean, so I'll be back there in the morning, and yeah. So, guys, this show here is the beginning of what we're gonna like a new era for us. We are going to go for iHeartRadio. So we are going to be changing up our format a little bit, and as you can see, we now have an intro for the show.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Disclaimer / intro. And, you know, we will be going to a 2-hour talk show, and there will be no breaks, so there will be no music. Because, like I said, iHeartRadio talk does not allow for us to play more than 30 seconds worth of music. So we are just going to go with all talk because, you know what? I think that's a cool idea to get another show onto iHeartRadio and to garner that listener base, you know, so.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now is we have plenty of content. So go ahead and start out, Rick.
Alrighty here. Let's see. What are we going to start with today? What would be a good... Okay, I'm going to save this one for a little bit later. So I think I'm going to start off with... it is an article by the RollingStone.com. This is by Stephen Roderick, and it was January 22nd, 2016. Who poisoned Flint, Michigan? Let me get down here. Alright, so Mom moved my two sisters and me to the appropriately named town of Flushing on the outskirts of Flint, Michigan in 1980. My dad had just been killed in a plane crash, and she reasoned my Flint uncle would serve as a surrogate father. That didn't happen. He was a good man, but he had two boys of his own. When we arrived just in time to watch the city die, as the auto industry disintegrated like a Chevette hitting a wall, this was only good for Michael Moore. It did give me unfettered access to the Flint River. My uncle was a dentist, and his mansion was built on the proceeds of General Motors' generous medical plan. His house was adjacent to the Flushing Valley Golf Course Club, which bordered the river. The 3 months we stayed with him...
Remember how... Excuse me, sorry about that. You remember how I said that Michael Moore was not from Flint?
Right, I do remember that.
Okay, well, Davidson is just like Flushing. It's a suburb of Flint, but it's an upper middle class suburb, if you will. And as you can hear her explaining it, it is an upper middle class.
Okay.
But go ahead, man. I just wanted to give you a little mind of this is the same kind of place that Michael Moore grew up in, where he claims he was from Flint.
Uh-huh.
Nah, not really.
Okay. No, that's good to know, man. I mean...
unfortunately, I would like to say this. Or, you know, the man's in the hospital and intensive care unit in New York City right now. He's been promoting his new movie, Where Do We Invade Next? If you get a chance, go check out the movie. I'm not necessarily a big fan of his, only because he makes a lot of claims of where he's from. If he'd tell everybody the truth that he was born in Davidson, I'd probably be a huge fan. But say your prayers for him, please, because the man come down with pneumonia, and, you know, he's in intensive care. So
I didn't
sorry
know
for
that.
interrupting, but he's been on a crusade for the Flint water crisis. He's been promoting his movie, and he just got run down. So now that I've read today that he's in intensive care in New York City, but he's asking everybody, you know, just to tell their friends about his new movie coming out next week. If you get a chance to go see it, you know, he takes an odd look at America. He goes in, what he did was he literally filmed a movie about America, but never filmed a second of the film in the United States. Well, and what he did is he went around the country, different countries around the world, and he actually spied on them to find their natural resources. So,
wow.
You know, because we like going to war for oil and other shit, you know. So he went to these other countries to tell the government what the fuck they got.
Wow.
Just to expose the absurdity and the stupidity of it all. You know, it's like, this is the real reason you're going to war. So here, fucker, here's what they got. You know? But on the same hand, here's what they don't have, you fucking piece of shit. I mean, I'm not a big fan of his, like I said, man, and only because he makes claims that aren't true about where he's from. But other than that, the guy's always told the truth in his movies. I think he went a little overboard on Bowling for Columbine, but then again, the American people were overboard when you can go fucking open a checking account and get a free fucking gun.
Right.
So,
right.
We had to draw the line there somewhere. There's got to be a happy medium, and I think he exposed it for what it was. But, Roger and Me, poignant fucking movie. If anybody gets a chance to see that, take a look at it again because it shows Flint. And remember, that was 20-plus years ago. And by the way, they couldn't show that movie in Flint, Michigan that was written and produced about Flint, Michigan. You want to know why? Because there was no movies left in Flint, Michigan to play it on.
Oh, damn.
True story.
I don't doubt it.
Go ahead, man. Sorry for interrupting, but I'll give you a little history of my city and, say prayer for Michael. I'm sure, he's not a bad guy. He's just, I don't know, he's fucking liberal, and I disagree with him sometimes on his politics, but, I don't wish bad health on anybody.
Right.
Especially as hard as he's working to expose this crisis. So, let's everybody say a prayer for him while we hold Ray up in our prayers as well. But anyways, go ahead, brother.
Alrighty then. The 3 months we stayed with him provided hours of creepy pleasure for a maladjusted teen. In pre-EPA days, factories had been dumping sludge and crud into the river for decades. Every day, my anti-nature walks bought new treasures. A dog carcass, the front grille of a K-car, and long green bubbles of water that appeared to be living, malevolent, aquatic creatures with free will. Whenever I stuck my hand into the water to retrieve an abandoned tire or a shard of chain link fence, my skin would come out a molten crimson.
Now remember, man, I told you last week, this river fucking was less than a block and a half from my backyard.
Wow.
And I remember the same kind of walks down by the river. And I always used to get in fucking trouble because when my mother would find out that I was down there, she'd fucking jump all over me because it was illness. It was fucking nasty down there. And it wasn't a good place for kids to be playing, but me being a kid to the street, fuck, that's where I wanted to be. Whatever you told me I couldn't be is where the fuck I was going. Anyway, sorry about interrupting again, but yeah, just to let you know that, yeah, exactly what he's talking about is what I saw every day, right? After school, we'd go down there and skip rock, and we'd have to avoid the splashes on the getting splashed with the water because we'd end up with big old fucking boils on our arm and red spots from the water.
Goodness. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I said, dude. It was toxic back then. And I'm 50 fucking years old. So I know they knew it was fucking toxic still.
Wow.
My biggest deal is why didn't they just take a fucking $10 water test before they hooked it all up?
Well, we'll be
$10 water test. $10 water test. Test the goddamn water before you turn it loose on the city. Would have been pretty goddamn simple right there, right? All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Love live radio, don't you? God damn it, fucking cord.
All right. I moved away after graduating from Flint's Catholic High School, where I was mugged at a neighboring 7-Eleven when my teacher sent me to buy him some cigarettes. The job kept moving away, too.
Great teacher, huh?
Yeah, right.
Here, go give me a pack of cigarettes.
To me, Flint became a self-deprecating antidote. It was the city that tried to rescue itself with an auto-themed amusement park. And then she has, in quotation, hilarious. had one of the highest per capita violent crime rates in the country, and then
that's something to be said. Now think about it, bro.
We're going to talk about it.
Well, think about this, man. Detroit, New York, Chicago didn't pale to Flint, Michigan. That's fucking insane right there.
Right? We will talk about that in another article coming up. Okay, so frequently finished near the top of the worst cities in America's list, and then she has in parentheses true, and so on. Some 30 years later, I can't say I was surprised when my high school best friend Gordon Young, a chronicler of Flint's slide in his book Teardown, Memoir of a Vanishing City, texted me that Flint, now in receivership and run by a party chick appointed by the austerity mad GOP governor, was switching over from the Great Lakes to the Flint River for its drinking water, all to save some bucks. I thought that this was preposterous. Only in Flint, a city that makes Youngstown, Ohio, look like Miami. This could be a viable solution.
Youngstown, Ohio, look like Miami.
I texted back, man, that seems like a bad idea. I mean, I had no clue. By the fall of 2015, news began coming out of Flint about undrinkable water, kids getting sick, and a stonewalling state government. I headed back to Flint for a week. I saw orange water running from a hydrant. I read, oh my goodness, FOIA emails, FOIA apostrophe D emails that proved the city and the state decided not to chemically treat Flint's water, something required in every town, village, and city in America. There was the woman whose water tested for lead at a toxic waste level. This was after officials told her she was nuts, even though her daughter lost chunks of her hair in the shower, while her 4-year-old son remained dangerously underweight and his skin became covered in red splotches anytime it was exposed to the water. And I met a pediatrician who discovered that the lead levels of kids under 5 in Flint were dangerously elevated. She became physically ill when a state official called her deluded. I was told, oh, come on. Sorry. Oh shit, my computer froze. That's a bummer.
What happened?
My computer froze.
Uh-oh. Well, we didn't talk about this, but what you've covered so far.
Okay. Hold on. It just back. But go ahead. Finish up.
Well, I mean, this is truly the sickening part of it, folks, is we're dealing with sociopathic behavior. If you took, if you went to any psychiatrist in the world and you described this behavior, intentionally poisoning a group of people, not just one. Normally you could just say one and they'd agree. But now we're talking about a group, a whole city population, and then still stand in front of their face and tell them, oh, it's okay. We promise you it's okay. That's sociopathic behavior, folks. That's criminal. That's mentally criminal behavior. That's the insane part of this. Not only do we have criminal acts, but we've got continual acts. We've got sociopathic behavior of them lying and then being okay with it. Going home and not losing a night's sleep about it. In fact, we got reports, like we heard last week, of people, the state employees getting free water.
Right.
From the state, and they knew that the normal water system was poisoned, but they continued to get the water without telling their neighbors. That's continued sociopathic behavior. And it's a group manifestation now. We're not just talking about one or two or five individuals. We're talking hundreds. Because later on we're going to get into the fact that even the contractors made money off of this. Yeah. And they knew the water that they were sending in was poisoned. So, I mean, it's sociopathic behavior now. So, go ahead, Rick. Did the computer come back up yet?
Yeah. Okay.
All right, go ahead, bud.
I met a pediatrician who discovered that the lead levels in kids under 5 in Flint were dangerously elevated. She became physically ill when a state official called her deluded. I was told that a few $1 million saved by the city on Flint water would now cost hundreds of millions to repair ruined pipes. The human damage is incalculable.
You're crazy. You're deluded. And we're talking about what amounts to 20 cents a gallon, folks. Let's not lose sight of this. This could have been changed for just a price hike. Put it to the people of the city of Flint. Look, we can give you water of this toxic supply, or we'll have to raise your water by 20 cents a gallon for every gallon you use. I promise you, they would have chosen the 20 cents more a gallon. Yeah, they'd have bitched about it. They'd have complained about it. But once they saw the fucking choices they had, they'd have damn sure went with the fucking 20 cents more a gallon.
Right.
But that's what we're talking about, folks, is 20 cents a gallon more. Think about that one while Rick finishes up. I'm sorry for interrupting again, but I want people to know that that's the actual true savings when you cut it right down to the actual gallon of water, 20 cents. 20 cents could have saved the difference. You hear them commercials about pennies a day? Pennies a day could have saved this baby's life. Well, yeah.
Wow.
20 cents a day. 20 cents a gallon. Which, 20 cents a gallon if a normal person uses 50 gallons of water a day, that may sound like a lot of money, but what would that's what I always tell people when I shop at Sprouts or Whole Foods, and they go, man, this food's expensive. I goes, yeah, have you priced cancer lately?
Right.
I think if they were given a choice, they would have went ahead and paid the 20 cents more a gallon, is all I'm saying.
Well.
So go ahead, Rick.
All right. Think of a mother waking in the middle of the night waking in the middle of the night to make formula for her baby girl and unwittingly using liquid death as a mixer. Lead poisoning stunts IQs in children, many of whom in Flint are already traumatized by poverty, arson, rampant gunfire outside their doors, and for what? I hate to get all MSNBC on why, but this man-made disaster can be traced to one fact. Republicans not giving a shit about poor kids as much as they give a shit about the greed
Nor
of
the Democrats. Don't let this motherfucker fool you. Neither does the Democrats. So, let's blanket them all.
Right.
I don't give a fuck if they got an R, D, or an I in front of their goddamn name. They're all fucking against this, folks.
Yes. Recently, Michigan was forced to declare a state of emergency in Flint. Some of the public servants involved have resigned. Now, feds and the state are investigating what one water expert calls one of the greatest American drinking water disasters.
Resign and run, motherfucker, resign and run.
Right. One of the greatest American drinking water disasters he's ever seen. In the coming months, we'll know if those to blame were criminals or merely incompetent jackasses.
No, I'm
criminal.
I'm pretty much convinced it was the latter, bro.
The latter?
This is beyond just meaning they're criminal, not incompetent jackasses. This is beyond incompetent.
Yeah.
Because incompetence means once you found out you made the mistake, you make the move necessary to fix it. You don't continue to lie and continue to gloss over the mistake you made. That's where it becomes criminal. That's when it becomes sociopathic behavior. You know, the mistake was not testing the water before they sent it through. That was the mistake. We can go with that one. But everything that happened afterwards, especially once you knew, once you fucking knew, and instead of stopping the water, switching it back over, and while you were doing that, provide everyone in the city with fucking water, you did not do that. You did not do that. Instead, you chose to become a criminal sociopath. And now you should be fucking held accountable, each and every one of you. Sorry, that's my opinion. That's the way I feel. And I'm sure if you did a poll of the residents of Flint, Michigan right now, they would feel right along the same fucking line.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that one bit.
They would probably want the cocksuckers culpable to face the death penalty, which you can't be mad at them for that because technically that's what they've given each and every one of those, especially their children. I mean, Rick, you and I talked about it this afternoon. You remember kids when we were growing up that had got exposed to eating paint chips, lead paint chips.
Oh, yeah.
And how messed up they really were. Now, can you imagine every time your kid gets a glass of fucking water or takes a bath? If you didn't know it, folks, your skin absorbs water while you're in the shower or when you're submerged in the water.
Well, your skin is your largest organ, and it's
it
is a sponge. So,
yeah.
Not
only are you giving it to them to drink, you're letting them fucking bathe in it. And then you're going around and telling them, it's perfectly safe, folks.
Well, just think how the parents have to feel knowing that they gave that water to their kids.
But you know what? It's not their fucking fault.
I understand that, but the
guilt...
But
can you imagine how they feel? Exactly.
Exactly, man. I mean, my goodness, that would be like a mind.
I mean, can you imagine having to look at your child in the face knowing that there's nothing you can do to help them and you contributed to fucking them up? I don't know, man. I don't have children, so no, I don't know.
Man.
But I can tell you what, man, it's got to be a fucking, oh my God, it's got to be a true heart wrencher. Go ahead.
Oh, most definitely. As a parent,
you know, especially like these young babies, like this lady's talking about, the young girl and the young boy. Dude, that's the ones affected the most from this.
Right. They'll have lifelong problems.
Oh, without question.
If they don't die early.
Mental and physical, like internal organ problems.
Right, neurological.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's going to be an expensive life for them.
Yeah, and not only that is they ain't doing nothing real fast to fix the water. You know, you and I talked earlier about the mess that the water bottles are creating and the fact that there's a lot of stars, rappers, and all this, that they realize that, yeah, that's going to be creating a big problem. So they got a lot of money. They want to raise money. They want to do things. But what do you do? There ain't nobody changing the pipes. Ain't nobody fucking doing anything like that major. They're saying it's going to take fucking, 6 years and, 6 years and $15 billion or whatever the fuck. But they ain't doing nothing right now. The question is why ain't you doing anything right now? Why don't the easy fix is to flush out the pipe and run that fucking sealant through it, and then run back to Detroit water, and then redo the whole fucking water line. That's the easy fix, but they're not even attempting to do that. They're still trying to point fingers and find blame.
Right.
Go ahead, man. I told you earlier, buddy, I'm in a very dark place right now, man. And it's just, the more I hear, the more it fucking just absolutely disgusts me. The doctor was told, you're crazy. That ain't happening. It's a fucking doctor. Come on, man. I'm in the ER and I see it every day, but these state, no fucking medical degree bureaucrats stood in that doctor's face and said she was crazy. It wasn't happening. What size balls do you have, mister? That takes incredible balls to know you're poisoning and stand in front of a doctor and say, you're crazy, lady. It ain't happening. Oh, my God. I bet you can't even wear pants, dude. Them balls are so big. I'm serious. He can't. He can't hardly walk. You'd be smacking them together all the time. I mean, dude, do you realize a medical doctor... Now, I don't have a lot of respect for the medical field, but a medical doctor has a lot of fucking years in education. Okay? Not only what they see in the ER or wherever their patients every day, as far as epidemics and medical fucking conditions showing up, and when they started showing up, and this fucking bureaucrat, all in the name of saving money, actually looked at her and said, you're fucking crazy, lady. That ain't going on. Now, what size balls does that take to do that?
Right.
And you look at her with a straight face. And actually, get angry. Feel insulted. You're fucking crazy. What? Oh, come on, man. If that ain't sociopathic, I don't know what the fuck is. Break out your psychiatric books. And there's a picture of the whole of Michigan state government in there as a definition of sociopaths. All of them. Because they all knew. At least all the Snyder administration knew.
Uh-huh. Wow.
So that's social. I'm not going to give up on that, dude. They've got to look at sociopathic behavior here. This is criminal sociopathic behavior. This is serial killer shit right here, bro. This is serial killer shit.
Yeah, it kind of goes beyond that, but...
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the nearest thing I can come up with to compare it to. This is genocide. This is, okay, what was that motherfucker Mugabe? Isn't that one of them that killed a bunch of people? Jim Jones kind of shit. It's even beyond Jim Jones. It's 100,000 people, Rick. 100,000 people that they stood for 20 months. 20 months and told them your water's fine. It ain't the water. Whatever you're suffering, I promise you, you have my word. It ain't the water. Now your kid breaks out like you're bathing him in fucking acid, which in reality you are, but it's not the water. Fuck, man. Go ahead and finish this article, man, because, yeah. All I want to do is fucking cuss, rant, and rave, man.
Yeah,
I told you that earlier.
Cut me off here once you start going off like that again. All right, Flint doesn't make me laugh anymore. It makes me want to punch someone in the face. It seemed so promising back then on April 25th, 2014. Coincidentally, the 34th anniversary of my family's move to Flint. Town leaders gathered at the cavernous Flint water treatment plant for a celebration. After a countdown, then Mayor Dane Walling pushed a black button.
Who didn't have no fucking authority due to the emergency management that was appointed by the governor.
It says then Mayor Dane Walling pushed a black button and Flint's water supply switched from a Detroit-based system to the Flint River. Yeah, that's what it says. So it doesn't say about. I mean, I understand last week's article.
Yeah,
that
they don't say that. You know, I feel sorry for Walling because a lot of decisions were made out of the elected officials' hands by someone that was appointed and lived in Lansing, literally. He didn't even live in Flint. Didn't know anything about Flint. He was a penny pincher. He was a fucking guy that was sent there to tighten the belt of broke Flint because they can't pay their bills. Yeah, sacrificed 100,000 people in the cost, in the savings of less than $20 million. Wow. 20 cents a gallon, folks.
While there were some from the very beginning who thought this was a terrible idea, notably Flint's Congressman, Representative Dan Kildee. My first thought was, are you kidding me? Kildee told me one morning in his office he threw his palms up in the universal sign of exasperation. We go from the freshest, deepest, coldest source of fresh water in North America, the Great Lakes, and we switch to the Flint River, which historically was an industrial sewer. Walling pushed the button, and the civic fathers of Vehicle City toasted with water from the Flint River. This would turn out to be the worst B-roll in political history when Walling unsuccessfully sought re-election in 2015. Oh, well, okay, I'm going to...
The people did speak and told him, you fucked up.
Yeah.
See? That 20 cents a gallon come up and bit his ass in the butt right there. That 20 cents a gallon. See the difference in the vote? If he'd have said, hey, folks, I'm going to be honest with you. We got to charge you 20 cents more a gallon, but we're going to let you vote and make the decision. I guarantee you the same amount of people would have voted for the water hike as voted against him. Payback's a motherfucker when you need votes, huh, bitch?
Yeah. So Walling says, I was never briefed on the whole treatment plan, with someone explaining what hadn't been done. Walling told me at an inexplicably successful crepe restaurant with the sign reading unleaded below its water station. What? In downtown Flint. He championed the downtown revitalization, and there was now a wine bar and some other amenities, but neighborhoods still had shattered streetlights.
Hey, man, I told you, the only fucking jobs and anything going on in Flint, Michigan was, would you like fries with that?
Oh, that's right. I remember you saying
oriented. That. There's no real jobs. A restaurant, wine bar. You know how much they pay their waiter and waitresses? $2.10 minimum fucking wage, and then they depend on tips.
Right, right.
And what kind of tourist attraction is going to fucking... What kind of a tourist is going to come to Flint fucking Michigan? So who's going to be the customers to give them all these great tips?
Right.
That's what I told you. It became a service industry city. Would you like fries with that? That's no different than a fucking wine bar or a restaurant that goes unleaded water. It's a fucking server. Would you like fries with that? Or can I refill your fucking water glass? That ain't no real work for folks that was making almost $100,000 a year, making this city or making this country what the fuck it was. When you talk about the economic or the fucking transportation economy, you have to fucking look at Flint, Michigan. And this country was built. Look at all these fucking highways, freeways, and otherwise. Don't tell me they didn't build a transportation economy. I can show you they did.
Right.
And you can't overlook Flint, Michigan when you look at that. But the only jobs left there is, can I get you fucking some more water? Or would you like fries with that? Or can I supersize that for you? What the fuck kind of shit is that for them people?
Right.
And then you're going to poison them too? Fuck,
right.
Go ahead.
All right, Walling is a Rhodes Scholar, but insists he was bamboozled about Flint's water and didn't get enough information from the state's overlords. It's time for the people to stop treating Flint like shit, Walling said. The reason Walling didn't get all the information is simple. He was only sort of mayor. Elected in 2009, Walling took over a city that had hemorrhaged half of its population over the past 50 years and once contemplated taking a part of the city off the grid to save on infrastructure cost. There was a $20 million budget deficit as Flint was having difficulties meeting the pension requirements of union retirees who had worked in more prosperous time and with much larger tax base. In 2011, Governor Rick Snyder, a white-haired accountant who ran on the slogan, "One tough nerd." Hold on 1 second here. What's up?
You went dead again. That's all good. Sorry about that.
Not a problem. I just kept reading. I heard you go off, so I just kept reading.
I figured that's what you were going to do anyways. Technology, folks. Bear with us.
Right? So, Rick Snyder, a white-haired accountant who ran on the slogan, "One tough nerd," took office. He quickly ordered the state to take over the management of cities like Detroit, which had become economically insolvent. Part of the state's reasoning for the takeovers was that it needed to step in to provide for the safety and welfare of its citizens. Walling and the city council were stripped of their power, and their salaries were cut. Not surprisingly, the powerless city council...
Okay, hold on a second.
Okay.
If they were there to protect the citizens and those things like that, then how come the only citizens that actually got protected in this whole fucking mess was General Motors when they demanded their water supply be turned back over because of corrosive fucking parts? That's an asinine, and that tells you the story of who the government represents really. It's not the goddamn people, folks. He fucking admitted it right there. Because his example is 4 months into this goddamn crisis when General Motors come to the governor's office and said, "We can't use that water because it's corroding our fucking auto parts." They let them change their water back over at the state's fucking expense, mind you.
Right, we will talk about that in another article.
Oh, fuck. But you can see right there who they're more beholden to. He fucking admitted it right there. Who was the citizens he was fucking protecting? The corporate ones. The corporate fucking ones.
Right. Yeah, which we will learn in these other articles.
Go ahead, man, but I just want to point that out, that he said a whole fucking mouthful when he admitted that right there.
Yeah, he did. All right, not surprisingly, the powerless city council attracted less than stellar talent. In 2013, Flint elected 2 convicted felons and 2 others who had declared bankruptcy. But, you know, who else are they going to fucking elect? Is what I would have to ask, because who else is there?
Dude, hold on a second. You know, I'm sick of these people that want to use that ex-felon. Okay, felony, you get convicted, you go do time. That is paying your debt to society.
Right.
Then how in the fuck can they continue to throw it and use it against them for the rest of their goddamn lives?
Oh no, trust me, I'm
That's fucking
100%
blatant
in agreement
discrimination
with you here on that part right there.
That's blatant discrimination.
That's double jeopardy.
That's blatant discrimination. Yes, it's double jeopardy. They're punished for the rest of their fucking lives.
Right. Oh yes,
and the fact that somebody filed bankruptcy,
so
fuck.
what?
There ain't no goddamn jobs in Flint, Michigan.
Right.
You gotta fuck. Why? You know, that's the ass, and that's bullshit of this article to use that as a fucking reason to disparage a city council that actually took over a city that was fucking broke because of the mass exodus.
Right. Right.
If you ain't got no revenue tax revenue coming in, you ain't got no motherfucking money. Fuck. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry for it, but that just God, that pisses me off every time I hear that about X felon this, X felon that. You're right. That is an X there for a reason. They got caught. They paid their debt. And as long as they ain't committed the crimes again or continued their behavior, they should never be used against them again.
Right.
And I question whether it should be used against them as long as they ain't committed the same crime.
And I'm telling you, we could do a whole show on that.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, yes, but we're going to stick to topic here. Sorry. But who benefited? It seemed austerity and budget balancing meant more than citizen welfare as state-appointed managers slashed union benefits. The city cut 36 police officers from the force, already stretched so thin that if a handful of officers were processing criminals, there were literally no cops on patrol. Wow.
But whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. Wasn't the governor concerned about the safety of its citizens?
Right? That was just absolutely...
And the first thing they do is cut the fucking police force in fucking half. Yeah,
That was already stretched so thin that if a handful of officers were processing criminals, there would literally be no cops on patrol. Wow.
Think about that.
Yeah, that's mind-blowing.
And remember the statement the governor used for the Gestapo dictatorship-like takeover of the city of Detroit and Flint. Remember that comment he made? And then when we get into the further ones of really who actually he looked out for and who he protects, you'll see what the government really represents and stands for.
Right. Well, it's like what's going on in Greece, says State Senator Jim Ananik, who represents Flint and has a newborn he takes to his in-laws' house in nearby Grand Blanc for baths. How did we...
That's Grand Blanc, brother. Grand Blanc.
Okay, Grand Blanc. For baths. How did we get to a place where we've cut everything? There's nothing left but the books balancing.
Full disclosure, brother, my uncle, John Ralph, John W. Ralph, was the Department of Public Works superintendent of Grand Blanc for almost 30 years.
Wow, okay.
That's probably why they got good fucking water still.
Hey, you never know. Probably is. All right. What the city looks like after that doesn't matter. As long as there's less red and more black, we're in good shape. The transfer from Detroit to Flint water was just another bottom line move. Flint was switching over in 2017 to a new pipeline that would serve the middle of the state with water from Lake Huron. The city council cast a symbolic 7-1 vote in favor of the new pipeline. The state would later try to use this as a protective fig leaf to claim the city had approved drinking river water. Detroit's emergency manager asked the state to intervene in the switch, and when that failed, the utility told the city of Flint that its contract would be terminated in 1 year. The problem then was what to do between 2014 and 2017. Snyder's Flint emergency managers, four cycled in and out like scrubs in an AAU hoops game, chose the Flint River rather than renegotiating with the petulant Detroit water utility. The initial results were not promising. One resident described the water to me as the color of morning pea. When an aide to the...
Oh, yummy in the morning.
Right. When the aide to...
Go ahead, brush your teeth.
Swish that around in there a little bit like mouthwash.
That's fucked up. But yeah, just give it a little swish.
When the aide to Ananik complained to the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, she says she was told it's called the Clean Drinking Water Act, not the Tasty Drinking Water Act. Oh, man. Are you fucking kidding me? All right.
Oh, yeah, brother.
They say we're doing our job. Acceptable water standards have become a fungible term in Flint. That's an interesting word. Okay. On the south side of Flint in the summer of 2014,
It's a very interesting word to describe water supply to fucking human beings, huh?
Yes, very interesting. Okay, on the south side of Flint in the summer of 2014, Leanne Walters had filled the above-ground pool that sat in the yard of her two-story home with scraggly maple trees out front. She lived there for 3 years with her naval reservist husband and their 4 kids, and they loved it. There were block parties and friendly neighbors. The children spent hours in the pool with their pals. That summer was different. Her son Gavin would emerge from the water covered in red splotches. Doctors dismissed it as dermatitis and briefly scabies. But when the Walters hosted a pool party and everyone emerged red and inflamed, she knew it wasn't just her son. On another day, she heard her 18-year-old daughter, Kaylee, screaming from the shower, "My hair is falling out in clumps." It made Walters think about her own thinning auburn hair. She did a survey of her brood. Everyone was losing hair. Her water stank and was rust-colored. It was around that time that the city had to use an E. coli warning, urging all residents to boil their water. I met Walters in November. She wasn't at her house the first time I stopped by, so I drove around the block and watched a Flint Water Department truck let a hydrant pump out gallons of orange water. "We're just cleaning out the pipes," said the worker cheerfully. When I met Walters, she wore a hoodie and faded.
I'll bet you that motherfucker had bottled water at his house.
I bet you he did. Yeah, you know he wasn't drinking that crap. When I met Walters, she was wearing a hoodie and faded jeans. She had been a medical assistant before becoming a full-time mom. She was struggling to understand why the government would do this to her and her family. She wasn't an activist before, but circumstances had changed. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I started calling the EPA, looking up water on the internet. Walters told me she fumbled with an unlit cigarette. I had no idea my life was going to change. This is where it gets complicated in a profoundly stupid way. To fight off concerning levels of fecal chloroform in E. coli, the city kicked up the amount of chlorine pumped into the water system in the fall of 2014. This resulted...
Yeah, here, there's shit in the water, so we're just going to make you drink pool water.
Oh, disgusting. This resulted in Flint water testing for an unacceptable level of total trihalomethanes, or TTHM, a contaminant composed of 4 chemicals that come together when heavily treated water mingles with debris and garbage in a water system. Interesting.
Remember I told you they didn't clean the fucking water treatment plant when they just flooded the fucking water through it?
Right.
Here you go.
Flint citizens went from orange water to complaining that their skin was on fire after showers. Still, the city said the water was safe, as long as you were not very young, elderly, or had a severely compromised immune system. Wow. An old friend disagreed, but for a different reason.
Now think about that for a second, about who they were targeting. The old, the infirm, and the young. So the only ones they wanted living is the young, fucking strong, that continue to work and continue to pay taxes.
Damn. Yeah, well, that's...
That for a second.
An old friend disagreed, but for a different reason. General Motors announced that it was discontinuing use of Flint water in one of its plants because of the high levels of chlorides found in the polluted Flint River could corrode engine parts. So while the state was saying the water was still safe to drink, GM was saying it wasn't safe to be used on car pistons. Yeah, well, if it's going to do that to a car piston, what do you think it's going to do to a human body and its organs?
Yeah, about that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were going to say something.
No, it was just a comment. Yeah, about that safety issue there with the fucking water. It's corroding parts over here. You know, it might not be as safe as you think it is, folks. You know, that's what's troubling about this, man, is none of these motherfuckers that knew without a shadow of a doubt was blowing the whistle. It took motherfuckers that would happen to be exposed to it to actually blow the whistle. That just, here we go back to that sociopathic fucking behavior, man. It's just unacceptable on all levels. I mean, you know, we're talking about how many people in General Motors knew that that fucking water was corrosive to the parts, but never told their neighbors, never said anything to WJR-TV 12 in fucking Flint, Michigan. Never did anything. None of those fuckers. State workers got bottled water, never said anything. Come on, folks, really? Fuck. That just shows you how low the human being, the human spirit has got. When you can't give two shits about your fucking neighbor, their children, the fucking same people you go to church with, you buy groceries with, your kids go to school with, and you can't say a fucking word and guzzle the bottled state water. You fucking pigs. Go ahead, man. Fuck.
All right. Walters and the rest of Flint were told that it was all going to be okay. One of the recommendations was that residents should allow their water to run for 20 minutes to flush out the TTHM. This was.
Can you imagine the cost of that now? Think about it.
Well, just
got to run your water for 20 minutes.
Let me finish these next two sentences. This was met with much grumbling, but consent in a city where water bills can be higher than mortgage payments. Whoa. Where water bills can be higher than mortgage payments. Think about that for a moment.
Yeah. They were already paying extreme amounts for water. But I guarantee you they still paid 20 cents more a fucking gallon.
Oh, yeah. But still, man, that just blows me away that their water bill is going to be, what? I mean, is everybody on Section 8 there? I mean, so their payments are only, what, you know, maybe $100 for rent, maybe? I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm just asking the question.
Well, dude, like I said, there was an article all over USA Today and all over every national news here a couple of years ago where you could buy blocks of Flint, Michigan on eBay for starting on it at $1. And I'm talking about multiple blocks for that $1. So, I don't know. I don't know how much mortgages are there. It can't be that much because there's not much there. So
right.
the mortgage payments can't be that much. But still, if you think about That's an extreme. Even if they're paying $150, $200 a month for mortgage, that's a lot of fucking money for water. You could see maybe that being the electricity.
Right.
But water?
Right. Yes. Right.
Water? Fuck. That's crazy.
Man.
Go ahead, man.
Okay. In January of 2015, Walters and a few dozen other citizens attending a hearing with Flint Emergency Manager Jerry Ambrose. She showed Ambrose plastic bottles with her orange water. He just shook his head and said there was no way that water came from Flint. Walters was livid. Her daughter whispered to Melissa Mays, another concerned Flint mother, "I think she's going to hit him." Mays, a feisty tattooed woman, told me.
I think she's going to hit him.
They called her a liar and an idiot. The two soon partnered on a crusade to figure out what the hell was in their water. The whole Walters family had been ill since December of 2014, but Leanne was particularly concerned about her 4-year-old Gavin, who already suffered with autoimmune issues and was 10 pounds lighter than his twin brother Garrett. His skin turned a fiery red every time it came into contact with Flint water. By this time, she forbade her kids from drinking the water. She started buying dozens of gallons of bottled water for cooking and instated a 5-minute shower rule. Walters called the city. After some hemming and hawing, they sent over a crew to test the water. The inspector left her an urgent voicemail one night telling her not to use the water until they talked. She called the next morning, and the inspector told her that her water came back with 104 parts per billion of lead. This was nearly 7 times above the federal action level of 15 parts per billion. The inspector recommended running the water for nearly a half an hour before using it. And he came back 2 weeks later this time. Walter's water tested at 397. Wow. Holy crap. So,
run it a little longer, we'll get you a little more lead in there.
And we're talking, this is just in a matter of 2 weeks that it went up from 104 to 397.
Right, but she was running it instead of the 20-minute, 30-minute. So, I mean, there's something to that trick right there, man. There's more water running through the pipes. The water is just fucking severely contaminated. So I don't. Maybe the initial water coming out was the state-based water because the sediments had settled down a bit.
Right.
You know, I don't know, but that would seem to make more sense because if you ran it for 30 minutes, it fucking jumped to 400 times damn near.
Right. Man, that's ridiculous, man. Alright, so panicked, she got Gavin and the rest of her family tested for lead poisoning. No level of lead is considered safe, but anything more than 5 micrograms per deciliter in the blood is considered highly damaging. Gavin's came back at 6.5 micrograms.
Holy fuck.
Yes, man. Walters told me the story with her hands clasped together so tightly I can see her knuckles whitening. We went out on the porch so she could smoke. The city offered to fix her pipes and in return asked her to sign a no-harm agreement. God, I hope she didn't sign that. Appalled by the horse...
Yeah, please don't sue us. We'll fix our fuck up, but you can't tell nobody, and you can't sue us.
Yeah, I hope she didn't sign that. Appalled by the horse trading over the kid's health, she fired back. I said, "What the hell are you talking about?" Walters told me with a sneer. "How do you put a price tag on your son? Your child being poisoned." Later, when we say goodbye, there was guilt in her eyes. You wonder what, as a mom, you could have done differently, Walter said, wiping away tears. Unfortunately, God, I wish I could give her a hug right now and say, you know what, you're a good mom. You couldn't have, you had no control on this.
That's what I said, man. It's not their fault. And all of them, to the last one, is going to feel guilty that they did this to their family, and they didn't. They did what any parents would do. And I mean, dude, even you even heard the stories about if they're not paying their fucking water, if you don't have water running in your house, you can lose your kids.
Right.
And if you don't pay it, they'll shut it off. So you still got to pay for the poison that's coming to your fucking house.
You're right.
But yet you I don't know, man. How would you take that? Like I said, man, it wouldn't do for me to live there because I'd be fucking out for blood, man. I'd be in prison. They would be I wouldn't be in prison because they would go ahead and kill me because I would take out that many to where that would be their only choice. They'd be scared to death of me to where I'd be dead. They'd come after me with a vengeance like the fucking gang that they are, and they would kill me. But I would start taking out those fucking culpable. I would. Because especially if my kid that got done this way, well, my kid tested at 6 times the fucking acceptable level, what the fuck?
Sure.
No way. No. Might as well have raped him. Might as well have done some harm like that to him.
Right. No, I agree.
Because you scarred him for life just the same.
Well, you basically gave him a death sentence anyways, so.
Dude, a death sentence, yeah. Think about that.
And
that's
a painful
so fucked
one
up.
at that.
Yeah, an evil one at that. A tormented, tortured one at that.
Right. Yeah, like I said, you can't. You just cannot put a dollar price tag on the human aspect of this, on what it's going to cost these families for, and let me tell you something on this next, what I know about chemical poisoning, okay, because I'm going through a fight right now with the VA and the Army, okay, because I was chemically poisoned by the military, okay, and they don't want to pay me 100% what they owe me. All right, so I'm fighting with it right now. Now, one of the reasons they do not want to pay that 100% is because when you get poisoning like this, it is going to take 4 generations for this poison to get out of your family's DNA.
Well, not only that, brothers, if they pay you, they got to admit they did it to you. They don't want to do that either. So, you got to take that in consideration. Yeah, you were injured, we'll accept that, but we're not going to give you 100% because if we do, we got to admit why you're 100%. Right. So, I mean, like we discussed last week, I've been to Anniston, Alabama. I played the fair there. It's a desolate fucking place because it's all toxic.
Right.
Fuck.
Right.
But yeah, it's fucking fucked up. But anyways, go ahead.
All right. So between interviews, I piloted my rental car between broken neighborhoods where my friends and I would buy beer at 16 from hyper-competitive liquor stores. The number of liquor licenses available lingers from the days when Flint had 50,000 more residents. I took a wrong turn and found myself down by the river where some middle-aged men were fishing. I met 2 black men in overalls and with few teeth. They didn't want to give me their names because they were fishing without licenses. The older one said, "I've been fishing here for years, but I ain't ever eaten anything I've caught. There's something not right with the water." He showed me a giant pike he had caught that was flopping around in a white bucket without much enthusiasm. Its eyes were oversized and bulging, looking like Blinky, the radioactive fish caught outside the nuclear reactor on The Simpsons. But his friend was less concerned. "If you're hungry, you'll eat anything. He smiled through his twisted teeth. I mean, we're drinking out of it. We might as well eat out of it. Come on.
It's kind of a shitty way to think, but it's kind of true, huh?
Well, you know what? When you're hungry, I can...
Well, I mean, the government's done forced them to be drinking out of it.
Right.
And cooking the food in it. So why not the food that's coming out of it? Fuck.
Right.
I mean, like you said, if you're hungry, you'll eat anything.
Yeah. After the initial lead reading came back, Walters became desperate. She began calling everyone from activists to random people at the regional office of the EPA. She got the attention of an EPA water expert named Miguel de Toro, who came to her house, ran more tests, and came to a startling conclusion. The water Flint used to buy from Detroit contained orthophosphate, a chemical used to control lead and copper levels in the drinking water. Del Toro wrote that once Flint changed to river water, the orthophosphate treatment for lead and copper control was not continued. Del Toro warned that there was no chemical barrier to keep lead and copper from infiltrating Flint residents' drinking water. In plain English, Flint lacked a corrosion control plan, something every water system in America has been required to have for years.
Everyone in America.
Everyone. So, to make matters worse, the water from the Flint River contained 8 times more chloride than the...
But Flint's its own special little Auschwitz.
Yeah, it contained 8 times more chloride than Detroit water. Chloride is a corrosive compound that causes pipe to rust and leach. At a time when Flint water needed more corrosion control than ever, it was getting none. Walters gave the Del Toro document to the Michigan ACLU, which released it to the press, but it only drew attention from Michigan radio. There was a reason for this. All of official Michigan denied there was a problem. In February, the EPA asked the MDEQ directly if the state was practicing corrosion control. MDEQ staffer Stephen Bush wrote back, Flint has an optimized corrosion control program and conducts quarterly water quality parameter monitoring at 25 sites and has not had any unusual results. This wasn't
Liars.
true. Yep.
Liars.
This was not true. There was no corrosion control. Still, the state of Michigan launched a counteroffensive, essentially calling anyone with concerns about Flint water a crank. Let me start here. Anyone who is concerned about lead in the drinking water in Flint can relax, said Brad Warfel, a spokesman for MDEQ. He later described Del Toro as a rogue employee. Internally, the MDEQ seemed more annoyed than concerned. In July, the ACLU's Kurt Guyette pushed for more details, and an MDEQ staffer emailed co-workers saying of the Flint situation, apparently it is going to be a thing now. A thing. Apparently it's going to be a thing now.
Apparently. 100,000 people thing.
We're in the middle of a man-made disaster, and apparently it's just going to be a thing now.
It's just a thing.
I like how they put that. Eventually, the MDEQ admitted the city.
But I bet you they weren't drinking the fucking water.
Oh, hell no. You know they weren't. Yeah, they were probably getting water bottled in before the fucking governor and his staff. And the state employees.
Oh, yeah, but, yeah, he's a rogue employee. In fact, I'd like to get a hold of that guy and fucking congratulate him and have him as a guest on his show.
Right? Maybe we should work on that and try to get him on. I'll see what I can do this week. Alright. Eventually, the MDEQ admitted the city hadn't been doing any corrosion control with Flint's water, and no one seemed overly concerned. Werfel especially said they didn't have to address it for a year. You know, if I handed you a bag of chocolate chips and a sack of flour and said, make chocolate chip cookies, we'd still need a recipe. Werfel told Michigan Radio they need to get the results from the testing to understand how much of what to put in the water to address the water chemistry. Apparently, Flint citizens needed to keep drinking poisoned water for a year before the state could figure out how to unpoison their water. I drove over to the Flint water plant in with Scott Atkinson, a friend, and until recently a reporter at the Flint Journal, a local paper that had heartily endorsed a switch to the Flint River water 2 years ago. The plant was off Dort Highway, a desolate slice of Flint that I was warned to avoid as a teenager. The giant stone building seemed unmanned. We walked in on a weekday afternoon and could have pushed a series of buttons and knobs and created God knows what kind of ecological havoc. We found the main office, but it was empty. There was a cardboard box with plastic bottles, instructions on how to test your water at home, and a number to call for more information. I grabbed a bottle and started to head out when I heard a radio playing behind a closed door. Here in Flint, even public employees seem to have gone into hiding. Frustrated by the lack of response from the state and city, Walters kept reaching out to anyone.
Isn't that fucking hilarious, man?
Right.
They're accepting a check, but they don't want to be bothered by nobody.
Yeah, I mean, well, the audacity of people wanting answers.
How dare they fucking interrupt me at work?
Right?
I have unimportant shit to do. Leave me the fuck alone.
I'm listening to this radio show. Go away. All right.
This is my jam, man. Go the fuck away.
Oh man, I gotta get a drink of water here for a second. My throat's getting dry here. Hold on a sec.
No, man, it's hilarious to, it started with the doctor being told you're crazy, and then the lady was told that didn't come from Flint, Michigan, and now the people hiding behind the door with a loud radio because they don't even want to be fucking bothered. I mean, it's fucking crazy to think about, and I'm so thankful. There was times when, I wish that my mother had never got me out of Flint, but now I realize, man, wow. Yeah, she was an incredible, she had foresight beyond her years.
Right.
Because she never looked back either. Never wanted to go back, never looked at, hey, maybe we'll go back to Michigan. No, that was never a consideration when we got out of there. And just, wow. And now looking at what happened. And, I mean, like I said, dude, I went back. I worked on the historical Stone Street where we rebuilt the historical homes of Charles Whiting, Nash, Chevrolet, all next to the Stone, or the Durant Schwartz motor carriage company, which was the first motor carriage to ever drive anywhere in the United States. That's in the history books. It drove down Stone Street in Flint, Michigan. I did go back, but I also saw the decay. I saw what it was. So I got out of there as soon as I could. But, man, the reality is, it's my home, but I have no roots there. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, yeah.
The only thing I have now there is my grandmother and grandfather and my uncle's grave. That's it.
Okay.
So, you know, I feel for those people. But, man, you know, I'm so thankful my mother got me out of there. And to think of what they're going through now, like I said, dude, I'd be the guy on top of the watchtower taking shots at fucking government officials as they were going into work. Yeah, you motherfucker with the water bottle in your hand. First I'd shoot the water bottle and then I'd blow their fucking lips off. You know, because they're all fucking guilty and culprit. Flint's a drain, Flint's a money pit, so you gotta cut costs at all costs, no matter what. I don't know. You know, and then all of these people are told, you're lying, you're crazy, that didn't happen, you're a rogue, you're fired. This journalist, you're going to find, that's why he's an ex-Flint journalist. Because he got fired for fucking asking too many questions. So what you're seeing is there was a few people that tried to speak out, but then they were shut up and hampered. Are you there?
Yeah, here, sorry about that.
It's all right.
Reposition myself and get comfortable.
But I mean, you know, you're hearing that these people actually did try, but they were stonewalled at every fucking turn. Not just stonewalled, brick wall. I mean, can you imagine being a doctor being told you're crazy? You know, what that could do to your reputation if you went up against the government, especially if she was a young doctor and in fucking incredible debt. She probably couldn't make too much of a fuss and a holler. And then, being told, mother, you're crazy. You didn't get that water from your house.
Right.
Wow. That's the audacity, the balls of some people to say that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I hope some motherfucker's offended by this. I really do.
Right.
Let them fucking call me. My number's on my Facebook page, cocksuckers. I don't hide from nobody. I hope you're offended by anything I'm fucking telling you. And if you are a Flint worker or a state worker and you got fucking water, you should fucking worry. You should fucking worry. Because I'm going to fucking make people come and knock on your door and ask you why. You better fucking worry. I'm not lying. Anonymous just turned over all the NASA addresses and employees. You don't think I can fucking get them on their fucking deal? I'll bet you I know of them that probably could.
Right.
You sorry fuckers. Well, I mean, you know, how else are we going to embarrass them to the point where they come clean of what they knew, when they knew it, and who else fucking knew what they were doing? How else? How else are we going to expose them unless we know exactly who all is involved?
Well, we all need to stand up for Flint residents.
We all need to stand up for Flint.
That's how
Anonymous is on the deal. I already seen the YouTube video they put out.
Right on.
They're hacking in. And like I said, every one of you state employees ought to be worried. But these guys are pretty fucking good at what they do, by the way.
Yes, they are.
And by the way, I'm so computer retarded, I wouldn't know the first thing about hacking, so don't come fucking ask me nothing.
Right. Yeah, I'm in the same boat there. I don't know crap. All right, let's move on with this article.
Go ahead, brother.
Frustrated by the lack of response from the state and the city, Walters kept reaching out to anyone she thought could help her family. That April, she contacted Dr. Mark Edwards, a water treatment expert who teaches at Virginia Tech and has received the MacArthur Genius Grant. She had heard of Edwards' work over the past decade on lead contamination in Washington, D.C.'s water, and laid out what she was going through. That spring, he tested Walters' water repeatedly as a sort of ground zero for lead poisoning. The results were frightening. While the state downplayed the poison levels in Walters' house through an assortment of tricks, including taking a sample at a trickle rather than a steady flow, Edwards took 30 samples with steady water flow. The average came in at 2,300 parts per billion, and one came in at a nearly unbelievable 13,500 parts per billion. Well above the EPA standard for toxic waste, because if we remember
man,
back in
that
one of
makes
those
my
previous...
That makes my skin tingle just thinking about that. Can you imagine showering in that fucking water?
Hell no, I can't imagine it. Oh man, no, I don't want to imagine it.
Brushing your teeth in it?
Ew. Man, I feel so bad
Having
for
your
those guys.
kids brush their teeth and take baths in it?
Wow.
If shits don't make you pissed off at your government, nothing fucking will.
Man, that's... Whoops. Alright, in August, Walters...
Oh, but hey, man, let's not get this fucked up. Flint's not the worst water. There's Navajo Indian reservations that's got fucking 1,000 times worse water because of fucking mining and shit. Okay? Flint's just being the first one exposed. And it's the largest because there's not 100,000 person Indian reservations. Okay? But there is worse water systems of government poisoning, intentional poisoning of water. So, I mean, you know, I'm making a fuss out of Flint because it's my hometown. Okay? But the government is systematically poisoning water systems of poor cities, towns, people, villages. Okay? There's examples of Navajo Reservation in Arizona that's been poisoned for the last 10 years. So, I mean, Flint's not the only, it's not the first. It's being the one with showing the spotlight on. The reason I'm showing such a brighter spotlight is because it's my home fucking town.
Right.
Okay? But it's a systemic problem here, folks. They're fracking, they're fucking using our water for fucking auto parts or auto manufacturing, drainage, mining in Arizona, you know, and it's going directly into our water supply, our children, our fucking family, our loved ones. It's not just Flint, and that's you know, I'm making a fucking big thing of it because Flint's my hometown. But let's look at the bigger picture, folks. There's other water supplies in this fucking country that is being intentionally poisoned, and the folks are being lied to. You know, I used to like to say Catholics don't have the monopoly on fucking kids. Well, Flint don't have the monopoly on poisoned water. It just so happens we're shining the spotlight on them now.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead, man. I just had to throw that in there, bro.
All right. In August, Walters told Edwards that she and other activists had traveled to Lansing, the state capital, where MDEQ staffers had stonewalled them and dismissed their concerns. Edwards became so angry that he and 4 research assistants drove from Blacksburg, Virginia to Michigan. They began working with Walters and Flint citizens to collect samples of water for testing and acquired 280 samples. Edwards' analysis determined that 40% of Flint homes had tested over acceptable levels. He joined a press conference on the lawn outside City Hall and begged Flint citizens not to drink their water. the MDEQ spokesman Werfel uttered another gem, decrying the research and saying Edwards specializes in looking for high lead problems. They pull that rabbit out of the hat everywhere they go. Nobody should be surprised when the rabbit comes out of that hat.
What the fuck did he say?
He says Edwards, the guys that did the testing, specializes in looking for high lead problems. They pull that rabbit out of the hat everywhere they go. Nobody should be surprised when that rabbit comes out of the hat.
He's the leading goddamn expert in the country. Of course they'd fucking pull that rabbit out of the goddamn hat, you fucking moron. Who the fuck else would you go to
Right,
except the leading goddamn expert in the country? What, did they think they'd go to a fucking Cracker Jack manufacturer somewhere?
Right, well, there's
the guy that glues the tops of clothes. That's who we're going to get to fucking expose the water problem. The fuck who did he think they'd go to? Fuck. Really? Man, just morons leading more morons. This guy is in fucking charge of something. Really? Do you understand that, Rick? This guy went to college, got a degree somewhere, and he's in charge of something. This is the people we have leading us.
Right.
That makes a bullshit crack like that. The leading expert on fucking lead contamination in water, and he makes a statement like, oh, he's just a rabbit in a fucking hat. Like we're some magicians claiming this. Are you fucking, oh my God, this sociopathic behavior of it all.
Well,
I will never stop saying that, man.
You'll be happy to know, though, that the state and the city did their own testing. They managed to come up with only 71 samples. Originally, the city came in above federally accepted levels, but then the MDEQ instructed Flint to eliminate 2 of the highest test scores on technicalities. One was Leanne Walters' house. The reason? She used a water filter. It's amazing how hard they had to work.
What? Wait. She used the water filter they gave her.
Yeah, right?
But hey, wait a minute. That don't count. We can't use that one.
Right, because we do.
You can't make this shit up, dude. It's so fucking comical. You cannot make it up, man.
Right.
I mean, this guy's a fucking bonehead moron.
Oh yeah. All right. It's amazing how hard they had to work to leave people in harm's way, and all the lies they told. Edwards said to me a few weeks later, after his research had been vindicated. He's taken Flint on as a cause, and much of the information that's come to light came from FOIA request made by Edwards. We will throw a landlord in jail in this country if they do not disclose a lead paint hazard in an apartment. It's that simple. He sighed and tried to maintain an even tone, but was unsuccessful. Here, these fuckers were working overtime to cover this up and to keep kids drinking. Oof. All right.
Hey, if I'm the leading expert and I have that much education, and this fucking bureaucratic piece of shit tries to disparage me like that, I think I'd be fucking a little hard pressed to control my emotions as well.
Yeah, that was pretty strong. In the end,
I'd be looking at him saying, you little fucking turd. When I get done with you, you're not even going to be suitable to mop fucking floors for worm farms, you piece of shit.
Yeah. Oh, man. In the end, it was the kids of Flint that finally made the state of Michigan crumble. Dr. Mona Hanna Atisha, an Iraqi American, is the director of the pediatric residency program at Flint's Hurley Hospital.
My birthplace.
On a typical shit-cold Michigan winter afternoon, she took me for lunch at the new farmer's market that had opened below her equally new pediatric clinic. Its location wasn't a coincidence. Many of Flint's residents can't afford cars, so Hannah Atisha had pushed for the clinic to be next to the central bus station and other state offices that serve underprivileged children. If they can make just one stop, it increases the chances that they all use the services. She told me as she mused with the hair of one of her clinic's patients. Hannah Atisha had more than enough work and didn't need to get involved in the water crisis. A majority of the Flint's kids are considered to be at risk because of abandonment, high crime, and lack of food. A favorite question that we like to ask in pediatrics is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Hannah Atisha told me, you have kids saying, oh, I'm going to be Superman, I want to be a ballerina, and so many of our kids just stare at you because they just don't have hope. They
just want to know if they're going to grow up.
That is sad. That is so sad. Man.
You know, and can you imagine, dude, I grew up there. I know. Oh, man. But, you know, the reality of it was, man, when I was growing up, when I was a kid, we saw it coming. We saw the desolation. We saw it starting. But the reality of it was, man, when I was a kid, I loved that city. I did, man. There was so much shit to do. There's so many things to go see. I mean, you know, you had factories. You saw raw material going in one end of the factory. You run to the other end, you saw a fucking car driving out. There was just, it was just those kind of shit that it was incredible. And Michigan is the home of the Great Lakes, to where, you know, you could go up north and you could experience all that, the Sioux Locks, the Mackinac Bridge. It was a great state until NAFTA, and the shops started fucking just saying fuck you people and fuck you cities that made us. And you know, it's sad to hear the places you're talking about, and me knowing those exact. I don't know where they built this clinic, but I know the hospital she works for. I was born there. I know the streets they're talking about. I know the areas they're talking about, but I know we're talking about ghost town. Even though there's people living there now, but in the end, we're talking about a ghost town, bro. This is going to be in the history books 50 years down the road when people are driving through what used to be Flint, Michigan, that is now vacant buildings, going, wow, I wonder what was here at one time. That's the reality of what's happening. And it's sad, but yeah, these are fucking kids that they're growing up, and when they're asked, what do you want to be? They ain't got no fucking hope, and they ain't got no idea what they want to be, because they don't see, you know, it ain't like they see jobs that they could thrive to be, you know. It ain't like they have fucking the career day at school, because there ain't many careers except, do you want fries with that?
Wow. Alright, last August, Hannah Atisha had a dinner party. She invited a former EPA staffer who briefed her on Edwards' findings. Soon, Hannah Atisha was pulling recent blood tests at Hurley, Flint's main hospital, and comparing them to previous years. This next paragraph just blows me away. Well, actually, it reinforces what I said. When pediatricians hear about lead, we freak out. Hannah and Atisha told me. We absolutely freak out because we know the kind of irreversible, lifetime, multi-generational impact. You can address the damage, she says, but it will always be there. Multi-generational impact. 4 generations, my friends. I mean, so now these little babies, when they have babies, their great-grandkids will still have it, and hopefully by the time their great-great-grandkids are born, it'll be out of the DNA. Holy crap.
Yeah, so now maybe that's why I'm more thankful about not having no children, eh? Because I don't know what I was exposed to growing up in that town, man. But, hey.
Well,
fucking almost, it almost makes you want to fucking cry, though, when you think about the damage that's done, man. 4 generations is fucked up. If they all packed up and moved out right now, 4 generations from now, they're still going to feel the effects.
Yes. And that, I'm telling you, you know.
That's if they survive this generation.
That's it, yeah, and that's a mighty big if. Because, you know, I mean, nobody has a guarantee in life anyways. Okay, but their chances have just been cut by over 50%.
At least 60%.
You know, yeah, and that's being fair. So, yeah, you know what? I got to refer to a quote.
Given all the other tragedies, given all the other tragedies in fucking life, that gives these kids about a 10% chance of survival.
I'm telling you. You know, this is on such an epic level. And
100,000 people immediately. And then you get into generational.
Right. And you know, hopefully. Yeah, I don't know, man. That just is it's a mind blower. It just blows my mind to even think about that. That's why, you know, really, you just cannot put a price tag on this. You know.
No. This is on the scale of Israel shooting fish in the bucket at Palestine kind of scale. And the people of Flint has committed no war.
Right.
They've committed no crimes. And neither are the Palestinian people, if you want to get down to it. But, and I know I'm going into something deeper there, but it's on that scale, though, man. It's 100,000 fucking people that the state has unequivocally declared war on and left them with no weapons, because this is chemical warfare. And there's nothing these people can do. They cannot fight back. They can't. The damage is done. Before they even realized what damage was there, it was fucking done. Is that fucked up or what?
Well, it gets more fucked up in this story.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. Now you know when I tell you every time we talk this last couple of weeks, I told you I'm in a dark, dark place, man. Because I've read all of the shit that's coming out from there. It's fucking insane. But go ahead, bro.
All right. Prior to the switch over, 2.1% of kids tested elevated lead levels. In tests administered between January and September of 2015, the number spiked to 4% and to more than 6% in Flint's worst affected neighborhoods. She checked and rechecked the numbers before going public in September. The state's reaction was predictable. Werfel said her research didn't match the state's, and was unfortunate in a time of near hysteria. When Hannah Atisha went home to her own 2 children, She felt physically ill and on the verge of tears. I was trembling. As a scientist, you're always paranoid, so you check and double-checked. She exhaled quietly, but the numbers didn't lie. Then something unexpected happened. After a few days, the state admitted that both Edwards and Hannah Atisha's findings had raised legitimate issues. It announced in October a $1 million plan to provide filters for the residents of Flint. Werfel even privately apologized to Hannah Atisha. Oh, wasn't that nice?
Privately, but yet publicly he fucking bashed her.
Right.
What a douchebag.
Complete douchebag. Not that the residents of Flint were done being abused. In an act of ballsiness, the state announced that Flint would switch back to its original Detroit water system at a cost of $12 million. But Flint would have to pay $2 million of that cost, demolishing its discretionary budget for the rest of the year. In November, Dwayne Walling lost his bid for re-election, largely because of the B-roll video of him pushing the button that set the chain of events. It might be unfair, but Flint needed a scapegoat, and Walling's name was on the ballot. Over the winter, emails obtained through the FOIA request by Edwards revealed that problem with Flint's water could have been addressed months earlier if the state hadn't ignored red flags raised by administration officials. Before the new year, Snyder would accept the resignations of Werfel and MDEQ head Dan Wyant. Werfel, in hindsight, says he would have handled things very differently. I regret this situation and my role in it, he said. Deeply, I'm a father to a toddler, and I've had to look at him and imagine how I'd feel countless times. I'll carry that with me for the rest of my life. Edwards says corrosion control would have cost the state of Michigan $80 to $100 a day. You know what? That whole paragraph is just pure fucking crap.
20 cents a gallon, brother. 20 cents a gallon. $100 a day, $20, 20 cents a gallon. I'm sure they could have recouped it. Whatever. They didn't give a fuck. You know?
Sorry about that. I'm repositioning my mic for the listeners.
That's all right. But you know what I'm saying? They didn't give a fuck.
No.
They were nonplussed about it all.
You know, at $80 to $100 a day, give me a break. Come on.
20 cents a gallon, homie. I mean, that's really what we're talking about here.
Oh, my goodness,
20 cents a gallon.
You know,
it's not really nothing at all.
Pocketing millions in fucking bribes and fucking handshakes and backdoor deals. They were bitching about $80 to $100 a day.
Hey, man, it cost the state $20 million to change back the water supply to the General Motors shop. So, I don't even want to fucking hear about these savings of 2 and 3 and whatever million. I don't even want to hear it. That's drops in the bucket. It boils down to 20 cents a goddamn gallon that you chose to try to save. And if you lay it out over all the households, it actually breaks down to less than that. It's like 12 to 15 cents a gallon. Okay? So, no. I don't even want to fucking hear that. Because the state bore the cost to change back the water supply to the General Motors shop. Fuck you. Fuck all of those fucks, man. I don't want to hear it. Fuck all your excuses. Fuck you and your little baby that you got to look at and you got to try to... No. You knew what you were doing, and only because you got fucking exposed do you feel bad.
Right.
No. Let me see how you look in that baby's face after you feed him a fucking gallon of that water.
Yeah, right. Right.
That's what, and I know, that sounds sadistic because that would be wishing the same torture and painful treatment on that baby. And I take that back because that baby had nothing to do with it. I do not wish that on that dude's child. I take that back because that would make me just as much of a sick fucking sociopath that these cocksuckers are.
But, I mean,
and
you are right,
that.
though, that, you know, his attitude and thinking would be much different if he had given his child that same water.
I'll bet you he didn't.
No, I guarantee you he didn't.
And that's the sad part about it, is you get this cocksucker bringing his kid in it when we just heard about other parents that have to look at their children and their hair is fucking falling out. The one child has got an autoimmune deficiency and he's fucking breaking out every time he takes a bath, but yet he still has to brush his teeth. Come on, man. Fuck. And then you wonder why I'm fucking angry. People ask me, why are you so mad? Why are you so angry? If you're not fucking angry, you ain't got a heart. I mean, look at these people every day that's in this, and they're not doing anything to fix it or change it. They're relying on celebrities to send them in bottled water, which in the end will create another issue. We already know. With trash and plastic bottles. What the fuck they going to do with millions and millions of plastic bottles?
Right.
I don't know, man. The more you read about this, the more insane it becomes. The more you listen, the more you hear, the more you dig into it. It's just, there's so much blame to spread around, they'll never get to the end.
Yeah.
You know? We just need to hold these people up in prayer and hope that there's a solution somewhere. We know that the damage is done to the human cost of it all. These children are damaged for the rest of their life.
Yep.
You know, I don't know what to say, man. I know I'm not at a loss for words. I know what I want to say, but it's the incoherent, cussing, fucking dribble. And I'm not going to do that because that's not what's needed now. We need solutions. And, you know, turn this passion around from being angry at individuals that's never going to accept responsibility, much less pay for what the damage is done. So now what we got to look at is how do we fix it? How do we take it upon ourselves? Because we know we've got no help from the government coming, and get these people some help.
Right.
You know,
it is going to be on us.
Yeah, because the government, we already know who they protected and who they didn't, as far as this water crisis goes, or whose side they're really on.
Right.
So, you know, now it's time to look at the solution. The damage is done. We can be angry and all that, but let's turn that passion into a solution instead of focusing on whose head needs to be on a stake. Because in the end, we'll run out of fucking steak and there'll still be heads left. So, you know, that's kind of what I've been sitting here thinking. The more and more I listened, the more angry I got. And the question kept coming back is, what good is all this anger if we don't find a solution?
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
You know, so it's time to start focusing on the solution. The damage is done. It'll be time later on to focus on who to prosecute, who to hold accountable. But let's focus on giving these people some help and focus on finding a solution. I've been even thinking about building them all little water stills. Get some fucking hillbilly moonshiners that can come up and we build them all little mini water stills that they can build in the back of their house and distill the goddamn water, because that's the only thing that takes lead out. You know, that's a solution. It's probably beyond workable, but it's a start. It's a thought. It's trying to get beyond the problem that we have. You know, if somebody else has got some better ideas, some other kind of ideas, please drop it in the message. Drop us a fucking line on the site, on the Facebook page. But please, let's focus on a solution for these folks, because we've got the greatest minds in the world in this country. So there's a solution to be had, and we can fix this, and then we can focus on prosecuting those that are a culprit or culpable in this.
Right.
You know, what do you think, Rick?
No, I mean, I do agree with you. I mean, we do have to, you know, we got to have a solution now. You know, I mean, it is time. I mean, it was past time. I do feel like we have enough stakes for a few heads, so, you know, so, I mean, personally, somebody,
yeah, and you know what? There's a time and a place for that. But right now, it's let's fix the problem. Let's focus on a solution to the problem. And then, once those people we know are safe and out of harm's way and drinking and bathing in safe water, then we can go after those that are responsible. But right now, we need to focus on solution and fixing the issue at hand. And that's getting those people clean and safe water to bathe or brush their teeth and to drink and cook their food in. That's just my idea. Let's focus on a solution. We can bitch and moan and whine about all the problems. But when we start focusing on solutions, then you know, we start focusing on the positives of it. And we can fix this. This is not, I mean, the state is surrounded by the purest water in the world, the Great Lakes. So it's just getting the water to Flint and getting it there as safely as possible.
Right.
You know? So that's the solution we need to focus on. Do we need to start a big GoFundMe to where we finance the water fucking pipeline and we hold, the city of Flint holds the title to their water supply to where they're only fucking paying for the fucking cost to maintain the pipeline? That could be a fucking future solution there. You know, where we finance the motherfucker. Fuck the government. It's not run by or owned by the government. It's run and operated and maintained by the people. You know,
I mean, it sounds like they do have that one pipeline that's going to be ready by 2017, they said, right?
Yeah, but do you really want to trust the government?
No, not really.
That's my point. And, you know, hey, it might be billions of dollars, but if we really want to fix it, it's not really that much if we all pay the front $5-10 every person in the country. That's $15 billion. There's 3 billion people in the country. Everybody throwing in $5. It's $15 billion. Right. It's real close. We could run a pipeline for that much money. It says that to what did it say? 6 years and $16 billion to run new pipeline or new pipes for the city.
Right.
So hey, we're looking at a little bit of money. It's $5 a head for every person in the country. Man, women, and child. So some families may have to, you know, the mother and father may have to bear the brunt for their children. But when they do that, if we decide to do something like this, they got to think about those children that have already been damaged and be thankful that their children ain't being damaged by the water. And you know, maybe that's the answer, is to own and operate the fucking water supply ourselves. That way we know it's maintained and we know it's safe and clean.
Right.
I don't know, because we already know. We know without a shadow of a doubt we cannot trust it in government or bureaucrats' hands. No. We can't, because this is what happens. In order to save a few pennies, we poison the whole fucking population. Yeah, what the fuck? All in the name of saving money, when I think if the people owned and operated it, they'd have paid the 20 cents more a gallon and fucking wouldn't have worried about it.
Right.
Yeah, it's just me thinking that, but, you know, and I don't know everything. I'll be the first to admit it, but, I know if I was asked, you want to get poisoned or pay 20 cents more a gallon? Sign me up for 20 cents more a gallon.
Right.
You know, but so like I say, all I can do is speak for myself and my own experience. So, so what do you think? We're gonna run a show next week about the same stuff, man. Keep it on the spotlight, or what?
Well, dude, I have a buttload of more articles, interesting articles.
Well, you want to keep it? You want to read that one about the VA, the next one, and then we'll call it a night. Because we only got through one article tonight.
Right. And we're already out of time, so.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, if you wanted to stretch and do that one more article, we could if you wanted to. Or we'll save it. Let's save it.
I'm not sure which one.
Well, you said the next article was talking about the toxic levels, and it's something you know about.
Oh, you mean that PDF?
Well, no. You said you had the next article you were going to go to talk about the military, the VA, and the toxic levels. Or was that you were talking about in that article? They were talking about toxic levels when you've got some experience with that.
Yeah. I was just commenting on.
Oh, how long is the next article?
Well,
are they real long, or?
Yeah, a lot of these are long.
Okay, well we'll just make it a show next week. We'll just
yeah, you know,
continue it.
There's some very.
We got to keep this in the spotlight anyway.
Just trust me, man. I mean, I've probably got enough, and these articles are interesting as hell, man. I mean, I got enough probably to do 2 more shows, honestly.
Well, you know, bottom line is, dude, you know, we could just do a reading only article, reading only show, and you could probably get through them, but that's not the kind of show we are. We comment and let people know our opinion too, and that's probably the difficulty of getting through these. But the reality of it is I'm going to have a lot of commentary because these are my hometowns, and I got memories of the locations we're talking about and things that I know to have been going on when I was there. And, you know, so don't be miffed if I continue to interrupt in these, man, because, you know, this is something that's really dear to me. And, the more we expose it, the more we learn. Like I said, dude, this week we need to try to get a hold of that first whistleblower, that water inspector.
Yeah.
Because I think he will be a very, very interesting interview.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because he was on not only the front lines, but he was there firsthand inside the water treatment center when they started playing CYOA, calling him a rogue fucking inspector. So he may have a lot of inside information that, you know, that's the first time I've heard his name actually spoken about. I've heard the lady's name, I've heard that doctor's name, but that guy there, that's the first time that I heard him talk, and I haven't heard him being interviewed by anybody else. And I'm wondering why that is. Because he's a rogue fucking water inspector. That's fucking why. But anyways, man, it's been a great show. I hope everyone have a great week ahead. It's going to be an exciting week for us. We're going to be sealing up everything concerning the Trogart show. We're going to have some exciting news next week and the finalization of it. You know, what I mean the finalization is the closing of the sponsorships and getting the final poster printed, getting those out, getting the entertainment announced for the meet and greet, things like that. Some very exciting news coming up here shortly on the horizon concerning that. So,
well, right on.
Had a great show. Enjoyed it, brother. Hope you did the same. We're going to keep hammering this, folks. if you live in Flint, Michigan, know that we love you, and we are not going to quit talking about it until you get help, until something is done for you and done about this. We may lose viewers, we may lose listeners, not viewers because you can't fucking see us, but we may lose listeners because they may get bored of our topic. But in the end, we know they'll be thankful if it ever comes to their fucking city and they start poisoning them there. That somebody at least stood the fuck up and continued to talk about this situation.
Hope so.
Because we're going to get into more of the continual poisoning of our water supply in different areas of the country. Flint ain't the only one. Like I said earlier, we're talking about this because it's my hometown. But we're going to get into the systemic poisoning of our water supply that's going on.
Yeah, that was
through fracking and other things that is going on unnoticed. And when it is noticed, it's going on the same way as what started out in Flint. You're crazy. That ain't happening. You're fucking nuts. That don't match our test. Our test overrules yours. So, but it is going on. And when two people tell you it's raining, folks, look out the goddamn window as you reach for the fucking umbrella, always. It's the best advice I've ever been told in my life. You don't have to believe everything you fucking hear. Trust but verify. But there's always a kernel of truth when you hear shit like this going on.
Right.
That's the point I'm trying to tell you. If two people tell you it's raining, look out the umbrella or look out the window as you reach for your umbrella.
Right.
It's a trust but verify issue, man. If somebody's saying that this is going on, and 5 other motherfuckers on the opposite side is saying no, look more to the person that's saying it's going on. Look more to that side than to the people that are being paid to tell you it's not.
Yeah, right.
Because this is what's going on in Flint. It's going on a lot of other places. And a lot of other things. Maybe not just the water. Maybe in other fucking things. Maybe the food. Maybe somewhere else. But this is going on, folks. There's a systemic poisoning going on in this country. And we need to start exposing it. And let's not fucking listen to when they say you're crazy, or that didn't come from there, or that didn't happen, or that's not happening. Don't believe it.
Right.
Don't take that as face value. When they get on the fucking TV and scream that it ain't so, always remember what Shakespeare said. Methinks thou dost protest too much. It makes you look fucking guilty. So, think about that as we go into this next week. And fucking always, there's 3 people we need to pray for. Ray first, the people of Flint second, and fucking Michael Moore. Just keep those in our prayers, and hopefully we can have this show next week if they don't come and fucking get us. Until next week, folks, I'm Patrick Partridge.
Hey, I'm Rick Wainwright, man.
This is 710